Hey you guys, guess what? It's raining and dreary in Portland. What a shocker. But I don't really mind this weather because it gives me the opportunity to show you one of my most popular keto soup recipes. Today on All Day I Dream About Food, we're making Chile Relleno Chicken Soup. Now I'm going to give a little extra plug for myself and tell you that if you love soup like I love soup, you need a copy of Keto Soups and Stews. It's on sale now at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other booksellers. The first step is to roast our poblano peppers. Poblanos are large, mild chilies, and roasting brings out a better flavor. So there are a couple of ways you can do this. You can do it in your oven under the broiler, you can use a kitchen torch, or I'm going to show you my favorite way, how to do it over the open flame of a gas stove. So let's get a little closer and I'll show you. Okay, I'm just going to turn my stove on to about medium high, and I recommend some metal tongs for this. And you just want to put your poblanos right over the flame. And you can hear plenty of crackling while the skin starts to char. You want to turn them frequently so that they brown all over. Okay, and once your poblanos are all nicely charred all over, you want to stick them in a bowl and you want to cover them up and let them sweat for a little bit. This will help take off some of the skin. So I'm just going to cover it up with a beeswax wrap and let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, now comes the messy part. We need to use our hands to try to peel off as much of this charred skin as we can. If you've roasted them well, it should come off pretty easily in large strips. And I definitely recommend having a cloth or a wet towel nearby because the skin really likes to stick on your fingers. Okay, and once you've gotten as much skin off as possible, you just want to cut them open because you're going to remove the stem and the seeds. Then we're just going to coarsely chop these peppers and place them in a blender or a food processor. And then we will just process them until they're nice and finely chopped. Now that was honestly the hardest part of the recipe. It's smooth sailing from here on in. So we've got our soup pot over medium heat and we're going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Then we'll add a 1/4 cup of chopped onion and a little bit of salt and pepper. And you just want to saute these until they're translucent and a little bit soft. Then we're going to add 2 cloves of minced garlic and 1 teaspoon of cumin. And you'll just saute that another minute until it's nice and fragrant. And we'll add our poblano peppers. And you just want to saute that all together until it's nice and fragrant. About 1 minute. And now we can stir in our chicken broth. And I have 4 cups of really good bone broth from Kettle and Fire. And we'll just pour that in. You just want to taste it at this point and see if you need to add any salt and pepper. I think it needs a little more. And now we'll just bring the whole thing to a boil. And once you got it going at a full boil, you just want to reduce your heat to a simmer, and then we can add our chicken. So I have 1.5 pounds of cut up chicken thighs. You can use chicken breast instead. And I've cut it into about 1-inch pieces. You can just add it all right in. And you're going to simmer the chicken right in the broth for about 10 minutes until it's cooked through. So our soup has been simmering away for about 10 minutes, and now we're going to add some cream cheese and some cheese. Previously in this recipe, I just had you adding them in and stirring them until they melted. But to be honest, sometimes cream cheese doesn't like to melt that well and you end up with little blobs of cream cheese, which isn't that appetizing. So I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm going to use my blender. It's already dirty from the poblanos, so might as well use it again. So I'm adding 8 ounces of cream cheese and 1.5 cups of shredded cheddar. And to make sure it blends nicely, I'm adding some of the hot broth from the soup right on top. I'd say you need maybe a cup, 1.5 cups. Don't get any of the chicken in there, you just really want the broth. Okay, let's blend it up. And When working with hot soups in a blender, always cover the top with a tea towel just in case. And now we can just stir our cream cheese mixture right into our soup. Ooh, I really pushed the limits on this pot. Oh well, it fits. Okay, you could totally stop here and serve this soup as is, and it's absolutely delicious. But I'm going to show you one last thing that really takes this soup to the next level. So let's dish her up into some oven-proof bowls, and you're going to float some cheese on top. You can use shredded cheese for this, but I find that sliced cheese works a little better because it stays on top. This happens to be pepper jack because that's all I have, but you could do cheddar, you could do any kind of really nice melty cheese that kind of has a Mexican flair. And now these go under your broiler until the cheese is melted and bubbly and brown. And how long it takes depends on how strong your broiler is. Mine's incredibly strong, so I'm going to take it out after about a minute. You want to keep your eye on them. Okay, you guys, check these out. They're so awesome. Melty, bubbly cheese on top. I highly recommend, as you're putting it onto your plate, grab an oven glove because they're hot. Let's see here. See if I can show you the gooey cheese on top. Dig in. Oh, there we go. How heavenly is that? There's a reason this is one of the most popular soup recipes on my blog. It's warm, it's comforting, and it's oh so cheesy. And if you love keto soup recipes, grab a copy of Keto Soups and Stews to stay warm this winter.